Lynn St. James is the co-founder president of Women in Motorsports North America, which she co-founded with Beth Beretta in early 2022, as we just heard. Lynn is a legendary race car driver, author, mentor, and motivational speaker. She was named one of the top 100 female athletes of the 20th century by Sports Illustrated. Lynn has set 21 national and international speed records and was a 7-time competitor in the Indianapolis 500, earning Rookie of the Year honors in 1992. She's a 2022 inductee in the Automotive Hall of Fame, in the National Motorsports Press Association of Hall of Fame, the Sebring Hall of Fame, and the Florida Sports Hall of Fame, the Hall of Fame of our hearts as well, and was named the Automotive News list of the top 100 women in the automotive industry, to name just a few. Lynn St. James.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our chat today is called Making an Impact and Why This Matters. It is presented by Mazda. I got a little preview of this panel with Lynn when I visited Phoenix for our last race of the year for NASCAR. I'm really excited about this one, as this one was coming together for Lynn, and she was telling me about the panel members. So first joining us on stage is Jonathan Applegate, Senior Manager of Motorsports for Mazda North America. Jonathan leads all motorsports businesses, programs, and activities in North America for Mazda. He was mentored by his predecessor, John Doonan, and appointed in 2023. He has over 18 years in professional sports, entertainment, and automotive on both the brand and agency sides of the business. In 2020, Jonathan introduced the Mazda Shootout Women's Initiative Scholarship to bring young, talented female racers, hot mics. I like it. In the professional racing stardom. He played an essential role as an executive co-producer in creating the first ever Mazda MX-5 Cup docuseries. This was awesome. First to the finish. Mazda Motorsports is now partnered with WIMNA for 3 years. And it says, thank you, Jonathan and Mazda.
I gotta give you a hug, okay?
Oh.
You came up too soon.
Sorry.
So I think what's great is if you've noticed the other panels, they've all been holding mics. This whole group has these Madonna mics, which are
I feel special.
Aren't they so great?
Yeah, really important.
They look so awesome. Sabré Cook is a professional racing driver and engineer and a representative for Porsche Motorsport North America. Sabré is a professional racing driver and mechanical engineer. She progressed through karting with 14 championships into car racing in 2017. She has raced and garnered success across series such as SCCA, Road to Indy, F4, F3, the W Series, MX-5, WRL, Porsche Sprint Challenge, and now Porsche Carrera Cup North America. Sabré became the inaugural member of the Porsche Mobil 1 female driver development program in 2023 and holds the stat of the highest finishing pro female driver. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from the Colorado School of Mines in 2017. Sabré Cook.
Of course.
Alen Cisija is the Vice President and General Counsel for the National Hot Rod Association. Alen is responsible for NHRA's legal and regulatory affairs, counseling on commercial transaction, managed litigation, and overseeing organizational compliance. He works closely with NHRA leadership and external stakeholders on diversity inclusion initiatives and education. I can attest to this. Ever since Alen walked into the doors at NHRA, this has been a massive mission for him. So Alen, from the women of the NHRA, thank you. Prior to joining the National Hot Rod Association, he was the general counsel for the NFL's Seattle Seahawks franchise in the Lumen Field. He's a graduate of the University of Michigan Law School and Oberlin College. John Doonan is the president of IMSA. He's responsible for day-to-day operations of the IMSA sanctioning body, which manages 7 different racing series in North America, including its flagship, the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. He joined IMSA in October 2019 after nearly 17 years with Mazda North America operations, where he served as the company's director of motorsports. A member of the board of directors for the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in Daytona Beach, Florida, and serves as the organization's chairman of the board. A lifelong motorsports enthusiast and native of the Chicagoland area, John attended his first ever race at Road America at 6 weeks old. Also, let me welcome Caitlin Quinn. She's a Senior Sports Science Analyst for TRD, a Director of Toyota Performance Center. Caitlin is the Senior Sports Science Analyst and also serves as the Director of Toyota's Performance Center since May 2018. She spent a decade at the strength and conditioning as a strength and conditioning coach at Florida State University and also teaches group yoga classes in Huntersville, North Carolina, and leads a weekly class at TPC offered to both GR, garage staff, and drivers. Extensive teaching experience, having served as an adjunct instructor of Florida State University, where she taught both graduate and undergraduate courses. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks, my dear. You want me to sit in the comfy chair?
Yeah.
Do I get a hug too?
You get a hug. Of course you get a hug. All right. All right. Well, y'all got hugs. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Well, this is a very important, well, they're all very important, but it's the one I'm doing, so it's very important. Because, you know, there's activities that happen in motorsports and programs that come along and then they leave and whatever reason, but the people here represented are about programs that have meat on the bones and are here for really, really committed reasons, so that's why it matters, and we're going to share, have them share why it matters. You know, a lot of times programs are check the box, no budget, you know, gets cut. They didn't really meet the objectives, if they even had objectives. And so, you know, there are programs, though, I think now that have really got some meat on the bones, so to speak. All of those representing here, but I think, you know, the Formula E Female Driver Development Program is one of those that I hope has real meat on the bones. I mean, it certainly was a strong representation with the 2 tests that they did this year. And I think, you know, whether we agree with it or not, but the F1 Academy with F1 is making an impact globally on you know, raising the awareness for women in motorsports. But each of these organizations represent their commitment, and so I really want to, first of all, we respect them, and we want to celebrate them, and we want to honor them, and we want you to share them as to why you're doing it, what is it, what is the history about how it happened, and why it matters. So Jonathan,
I was going to say, you're looking right at me.
You know, man. I am, because I mean, the Mazda Female Driver Development Program, you know, in your whole driver development, I mean, the way you really develop drivers, I mean, I'm a huge fan of, which I think anybody that paid any attention is Connor Zilic, because of what, you know, what it's done for his career. It's done so much for many careers. So why does the Mazda program matter?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. It's a true privilege to be here. Mazda's been a partner of Women in Motorsports North America for 3 years now. And this is my first year that I've got a chance to be here for the 3 days. I was at the reception on Monday night, attended yesterday, some breakouts, and now here today. And I can just truly say I'm inspired. Like I'm inspired because of the amount of talent and you can see the next generation coming up into motorsport. So I'm really encouraged as well to see what that means for motorsport and for the next generation, as even you said at the reception, to kick everything off. Like, we're not doing this for just us in this room today, but we're doing this for the future of the sport. And I'm hopeful that this room and this group, including the allies and all the women from the executive level down to the engineers and the racers in this room, we can all kind of get behind this and really move the needle into the next era of motorsports. So thanks for having me, and just a true privilege. But I think internally and externally is kind of 2 different ways that we say, like, why does it matter? Mazda internally, we're a car company, ultimately with an objective of selling cars. But I think when you strip that away in terms of just sales and looking at cars on dealership floors, like, we're truly a people's organization and looking at why we do what we do, truly like examining that on a daily basis. Our purpose is enriching the lives of those we serve, and motorsports is a true expression of that, where we're looking at literally waking up every day and obsessing over our customer, over our racer, over our teams. And those teams and customers are men and women. So we're constantly every day looking at how we can support them. And we've done that for decades with John Doonan before me and the leadership that has been around since the beginning of time. But we saw an opportunity to really look at the avenue and a new stream of looking into supporting women in motorsport. We've seen awesome women along the way, like true enthusiasts of the sport, influencers of the sport, champions of the sport. But we really weren't providing an opportunity for them to really excel and to show what their capabilities are, and by the masses. So in 2020, we looked at an opportunity to introduce a Women's Initiative Scholarship. It was an opportunity for everyone, I think, in 2020 to kind of hit the reset button and look at who we are as a brand and an organization and how we can truly support and be special in that moment. And so we introduced that scholarship with the opportunity to really hone in on the development and the growth of a female racer. And so we've done that for 6 years now, and we've put over $600,000 into that investment. But as we've learned along the way it's a true learning process. It's not just about an investment. It's truly about mentorship and allyship and coming alongside that racer to learn what the objectives are for that individual. And it's anything from sponsorship decks to those daily conversations and and just really kind of finding a 360 evaluation and opportunity to help come alongside of that racer and find those new avenues and opportunities. So,
you said something though that I think is so important is that we are still, each guy that has races, each female that races, we are still unique and different in individuals.
Yeah.
So our individual needs are different. And that's what, it's really hard because people, we've got to do a female driver development program, and so we put 4 women, 3 women, and thank God you do the scholarship, and I know that was a great extension of what you were doing. But then somehow I think the perception is that they're all going to be the same. And the guys aren't all the same. So
exactly.
The women aren't either, and then it's hard because, oh my God, now we have to hone somewhat the support for each individual, right? And that's hard.
Exactly. But I mean, that's kind of where at the crux of it is like we've learned that every unique path for each racer, and it's racers right now, but the opportunity for us is to expand and to look at how we can grow the sport. From mechanics to engineers to leadership. We've got Shay Holbrook in the room. I'm seeing her in the front row here, one of our team owners in MX5 Cup. It's the opportunity to look at the women across the spectrum of motorsport and say, how can we come alongside you to support you in your unique paths and your unique ways? So it's been I know Sally, I've been talking to her. She's out here somewhere in the audience, and it's been just I say this selfishly, but I feel like a proud dad in many ways of seeing these racers grow and just and the maturity from season 1 to season 3 of someone like a Sally Mott. Now she's doing great things and has a lot of growth and blue skies ahead. So it's wonderful to see.
So the Shootout Female Award is $100,000. I mean, I realize that a little context there,
Yeah.
And that then at each race, the top female finishing driver gets $2,000. So I mean, money is what enables us to race, and so you really, it isn't just recognition. It's actually, puts money into it.
Yep.
What about the docuseries, the first to the finish?
Yeah, and I think, as I said, it's like twofold, the internal approach, and I think externally, our objective is to really grow motorsports and to expand women in all angles and all streams. So for us, we saw an opportunity with a unique perspective. There's clearly been Drive to Survive and some other docuseries, and even with Formula One Academy kind of on the, this was after First to the Finish, but we've seen opportunities and angles of content that's been created that really tell the story of women in motorsport or women in sport. And but we thought we had a unique approach there where we could really truly show the adversity that our female racers experienced. And it's not all about the wins. It's really truly about the growth and the opportunity. So from us, we looked at this now 3 years ago. It's crazy to even think that when this idea first was birthed, but we looked at it as an opportunity not to just show the essence of MX5 Cup and who we are as a brand, but really expand upon the uniqueness of our series and our racing and our customer being male and female, but emphasizing where we're at today with a need for the growth of women in motorsports. So we picked Shay Holbrook, team owner of BSI Racing, Sally Mott and Heather Hadley as our main characters, if you will. And I see Kimmy here as one of our other female owners. Sorry, I see you over there. Love all of you. But we've honed in on those 3 characters, and it really just told the story of grit and adversity and adaptability, some of the things that have been being talked about through this whole conference.
Well, I did the review of that because I watched them, and that was for all motorsports. In other words, that was an insight what it takes to be in racing. I mean, It wasn't just the women. It's just sometimes women are more, we're more dynamic or we're yappy more. We're willing, we wear our hearts on our sleeve a lot more. And so, but we actually do a better job sometimes than of telling the story of motorsports,
Absolutely.
I mean, I could go into some stories
Keep
about
going. No,
but it was a 4-part series, right? And Was it 4 parts?
It was actually, it was six.
Oh, 6.
6 episodes.
6 episodes, okay.
And it was the 2024, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm saying these facts out loud, but 2024 season, everything's kind of, spectrum of time here is all in one, but it was the 2024 season, just watching Heather Hadley and Sally Mott kind of grow through their season and face those challenges and see some growth and some wins along the way. But also Shay, as the boss of BSI Racing, really kind of doing her thing and really showing how she's leading a championship pedigree team. Which
told the story of the business part of the sport as well, that Shay did so well.
And I think you had a cameo in that as well. In that end of year, that last episode here at PRI, Sally and Heather were out trying to look for partnership, because that's part of it. Is again, it's like the behind the scenes aspects of what it really takes to be not just a racer, but in motorsport. We all know, and we talked about this yesterday, how vicious the industry is. Yeah. It's both a welcoming community, but it really takes a type A personality and someone that's diligent and tenacity behind them to really get what they need. So it's just showing all those things, but I think that was what we wanted to show from a values perspective internally, but externally we knew that it was an opportunity to really grow into a new audience, and not just for Mazda, but for the entire motorsports industry and the community, and to shed new light with new fans and new growth opportunities and revenue streams into something that we hoped partners and others would see as, hey, this is really exciting and an opportunity for maybe someone else like a Mazda or a Toyota to jump on. And that's what we need. We need partners across the entire spectrum, not just one OE to support this. And that's kind of what you see here on this board as representing on
Well,
stage.
we say thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great.
Glad to be part of it.
Alen.
Hi.
Hi. The attorney on the panel.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty safe over here. Real close by. He's only on arm's reach away.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we first met on Zoom, and he's an attorney, and I'm like, well, this is going to be a lot of fun. But it turns out you really knew your stuff, and you're a fan too, and you were enthusiastic. But let's face it, NHRA has just nailed it as far as having successful for women in motorsports. And I love this campaign this year about the power of women, which I hope you'll talk a little bit about. You've got such a great history. I mean, it's all so much, it appears to be organic. I don't know. But just tell us how this happened. How do we have so many women winning every frickin' weekend at an NHRA race?
It's truly awesome and inspiring. I have to give Cindy some credit to helping me kind of think about this in a little bit of a different way. So we were at a WIMNA get-together, SoCal chapter, for those reps in here last month, and when she got up in front of the room, she said something to the effect of, men show up, women have to be invited.
Hey, that was my quote. So she stole it.
She stole it from you.
Right.
Yeah.
I smell a lawsuit.
The next sentence was, and then she gave you credit.
I'll represent you, Lynn.
Thank you.
But I think what she was trying to get at, what she was commenting on, is that men are assumed to be part of the room, part of the ecosystem, and women need a special invitation or an initiative or something to that effect. I guess in other words, they don't have the privilege of just showing up. And when I think about the NHRA's history, we're 75 years old next year, right? We were founded in 1951. Our history is just littered with stories of women just showing up and creating space for themselves. Pretty early on, I think, I sat down with our resident historian, Phil Burgess, who's the editor of National Dragster magazine, and I asked him, I was like, just tell me the story of women in our sport. And he said, well, it started in 1951, the oldest commercial drag strip in the country, the first one in Orange County. He said, there's a woman named Peggy Hart, and she just got in a car and, she started racing, and she inspired some other women to get in the car, and they started racing, and quickly thereafter, they started winning and kicking butt. And I think in 1962 in Indy, the first woman won in her class here at a national event. It took 19 national events, for those of you who don't know NHRA and drag racing, those are kind of our big money-making, made-for-TV
if they're
productions.
sitting in this room, they should know about drag racing.
Yeah. So 19th ever national event, a woman won the national event.
Wow.
Right? And so I guess what I'm trying to say here is that this is rooted in our history, and Shirley Shahan, who won the 1966 event, inspired a bunch of other women to get into cars and start racing. Most of you in here know the name Shirley Muldowney, right? She came and rocked the sport in the 70s and won first national championship or series championship in 77, then I think, or 79, early 80s as well. And so it just kind of snowballed from there. And the reason I give this kind of oral history is that we can't take the credit for it. And I don't want to sit here on behalf of NHRA and say, you know, we were this super progressive organization in the 50s, 60s, 70s, because that'd be a lie. It's the credit really goes to the women who came in and created the space and the opportunities for themselves. I think what we realized pretty early on in the late 70s, early 80s is they've opened the doors. We just need to keep the doors open for them, right? And so I think the initiatives that we have engaged in since then are really aimed at keeping doors and opportunities open for women to participate. And I think some of the things that we do pretty well, low barrier to entry in our sport. I think everybody in this room, you know, come April can go down to Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park on a Wednesday and drag race. You don't need special equipment. You don't need a fancy car. It doesn't cost $1 million. You can take your Toyota Sienna minivan and see how fast you can take it down the drag strip, right? And see, yeah, there we go. We've got someone that's done it. And I think that the low barrier to entry has inspired a lot of women to test it out and then see what they can do and get into the sport. So I think there's that, just the low barrier to entry. I think our events are naturally and organically family friendly, both from kind of the racer perspective and the spectator perspective. Spectator perspective, many of you have heard, and we've trademarked this as the lawyer, every ticket is a pit pass in the NHRA. So it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to go behind the ropes and see your favorite racers and mechanics and work on the cars and whatnot. And so that allows women, men, kids to go and engage with their favorite racers and kind of see the sport live and take in the culture and whatnot. And then on the racer side, both when mom and dad race, the kids are in their pits, on the sportsman pits, more often than not, fetching tools, checking tire pressure, and kind of, again, engaged in the culture of the sport and inspired to participate later on. The other big thing that we focus on, and I think has contributed to our success, is the Junior Drag Racing League, which is our kind of youth initiative that we've had for 30, 40 years, I think now. And the lead is 50% of our participants today are girls.
Wow. I just love that.
It's awesome. And that's, for those of you who aren't familiar, kids ages 5 through 17 race in half-scale little dragsters, but the way that we do it is we have them race at our national events, at our money-making events. They race down the same drag strip within an hour of Brittany Force, going down 344 miles an hour. These little kids, and they're on our streaming platform, right? And so they're inspired to participate, and there's a lot of little girls who are champions in that program, and come through those ranks and become world champions. I think Erica Enders is here, I think, and she's a 6-time champ, I believe, winningest female driver in motorsports history of any discipline, right? Wow. She came through that program, which is incredible. And so I think all of that history has helped us be really, really successful. More recently, the Women of Power campaign, what we've done there is we're trying to elevate some more of our up-and-coming female stars in the sport to get them to engage in spaces where we as NHRA haven't historically engaged, like women's sports conferences, these kind of non-traditional, non-endemic places. And we've partnered with an all-female marketing agency in New York to get them to take these trips to engage with non-endemic brands with the hope of getting them sponsorships and getting them in front of audiences that they might not have been before, with the goal of sustaining the sport. And the impact that it's had, which is awesome. Again, I said 50% of our Junior Drag Racing League, female girl participants, right? The fastest driver in NHRA history, Brittany Force, a woman, right? Not female, just fastest driver ever. which is truly incredible. And then we have had over 100 different women win national events in the NHRA. So, they're helping sustain our sport, and it's really neat to see.
Well, I remember when we spoke, and you said actually women have helped actually grow and NHRA. But what I love is that you could just sort of ride the coattails of all these gals that are showing up and doing a great job, but you're investing. You are investing, which in fact, because you just spoke about with this marketing agency and this power of women, and as one of the biggest challenges I'm going to put to all of you, we had all these great stories yesterday and information and data about women's sports, and women's sports is at an all-time high, and Caitlin Clark, and it's all great, everything's growing. Women in motorsports is not in that conversation. And so just the investment that you are making and that NHRA is making is helping that. And we need to continue to get outside of ourselves and bring more of the success stories. That's why the docuseries was so helpful. We just have to continue to get into that space, and you're helping us do that. So
that's right, yeah.
All right, well, it's just great. And we just, my very first, by the way, was a drag race on a local Wednesday night in my friend's GTO, and that Christmas tree, getting it up to 3,000 RPM, dropping the clutch and going through the gate, started it all. All right, I'm going to get to Miss Sabré Cook, who is also got a lead foot and is here representing Porsche, actually. When we again talk about why it matters, and unfortunately, Volker Holzmeier couldn't make it, but he selected you. He said he wanted you here to represent the Porsche Female Driver Development Program. That started by basically looking on the website, started in 2023. So it's fairly new, but it does help financially. It isn't just a celebratory type thing. It does give some financial support because we all know how expensive racing is. So you tell us about what the program is and then how it actually has impacted you, and I know some other female drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, firstly, thank you, Lynn and Cindy and everybody at WIMNA and WIMNA for having us here. And thank you to Volker for tapping me in to come and be on this panel. So happy to be here and represent Porsche. But the Female Driver Development Program kind of runs parallel to the junior program, which is been around for a long time in the Porsche Motorsports ladder. The female, there's so many words, I'm sorry if I mess it up. The Porsche Mobile One Female Driver Development Program.
That's a mouthful.
There you go.
But you got it all in.
I had to make sure I mentioned the Mobile One, of course. But we'll say the Mobile One program. Mobile One program. They have 4 pillars, essentially, that create the program. So the first one is financial support, which is one of the biggest helpers. What they do is Porsche comps 50% of our entry fees. And then additionally, there is a performance incentive. So for every race weekend, we have the potential to win all tires that we need for the racing season. We can win one for race 1, race 2, and then for overall points for the weekend for being top performing female, which essentially, once you start Sebring, you can win all the tires for the rest of the season if you're able to perform the best in all the races. So that's a very large chunk of money if you do the math really quick when the tires are $3,500 to $4,500 per set. So that's a massive help, and I know it's definitely helped myself as well as one of my teammates, Madeline Stewart. We're both part of the Porsche Mobile One Female Driver Development Program, and it has helped us not only finish seasons, but be able to actually do maybe an extra test, or maybe we actually get to have a driver coach at that test. So every little bit has added up for us to be more successful and to perform better during the season. The other pillar of the program is training and education, and it's adapted every year, similar to the IMSA Diverse Driver Development Scholarship, which I've also been a part of for 5 years now. So I feel like I have a little bit of parity, and then I also did an MX-5 race. So I feel like I have a lot of connections on this panel, which is very cool because they've all helped me get to where I am.
Because you're a successful race car driver who gets better, and everybody knows it, so they're well,
well, I'm like, there's an opportunity, and they're there to provide the opportunity, which I think is the most important part. So So, but yeah, the training and education has improved every year. So that includes a variety of different things. This year we had a seminar with Dr. Jacques Dallaire for performance psychology. We also did a social media seminar with Yokohama. We do the performance, the driver combine for the last several years at Porsche Penske in North Carolina, where we do physical assessments, we do marketing training, we do brand awareness recognition, talking about the Porsche brand, so we really understand like why it's such a cool thing to be part of the Porsche family. We also get to talk to and interact with drivers, engineers, crew members of the current Porsche umbrella, and then we get to see all the cool cars that's at Penske. So very cool program there. We also get to see trackside. We go explore the teams, whether that's with the GT3 cars, the GTP cars, getting to see everything that the engineers are doing, that the drivers are doing, get to talk to the drivers, get their perspectives. We also have access to specifically Patrick Long and Richard Westbrook the last several years. Pat has been an incredible asset for me, just to like, he knows the players, he knows the situations, and he knows the cars, so he's someone I can go to and I can ask about, hey, I'm struggling with this in the car, or hey, I'm struggling with this politically or sponsorship wise, what do I do? And he will always, like, he'll say, okay, I got this hat on, but as the friend hat, this is what I would tell you to do. So they've been instrumental in helping myself as well as the other juniors and female drivers in the programs. And then the fourth pillar of the program is brand visibility and recognition. So being able, for myself, I've seen a massive growth for the last 3 seasons in my ability to build my brand and build my partnerships. Because when you go to a company and you say, hey, I'm racing a Porsche and I'm part of a Porsche driver development program, that gives credibility and it really helps them, it gives value to my name. It gives also value to Porsche because there's 50% of the population is female, and so then they start using our stories to paint pictures, whether that's at like events, at dealerships, or with the road car side of things, where they're like, hey, we're also investing in women, and I feel like showing that women have a place at the highest level of the automotive industry, right? Whether peak performance of motorsports, it allows women in their everyday lives to see, oh, well, if they can do it at the top, then I can absolutely walk into that dealership and buy that GT3 car right there. Like, I have absolutely every right to. So it's been a very cool program overall to see the marrying of us asserting and being valued on track to then just crossing over to the value of everyday consumers.
Well, I mean, Porsche certainly is one of the real stakeholders of OEM and motorsports, right? I mean, and I think just to be a part of that, but sometimes that could be just to be a part of it. But now that you put all those meat on the bones of what they're really supporting you with, and not just you, but I think they've had 8 female drivers that they've in just those few short years. So we want to make sure that Volker knows that we're here, to celebrate that we will expect him to continue that.
I'll let him know. It does continue in 2026. They have announced the program will continue. So yeah, excited to see how many women we have show up on the grid next year.
No, and really, really proud of you, obviously.
Thank you. Look, I couldn't be here without you. By the way, Lynn was the one that was like, hey, I think you should look at this series. And then once where was it? Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta. We sat and watched together, and I said, this is it, kiddo. This is, because it's a make series. The cars are all the same. Single driver. You're going to show it. I know you can do it. Yeah.
And within 30 minutes, I think Lynn had several main players sitting down at a table with me being like, I want this to happen. How do we do this?
The series isn't for the faint of heart. 2 P7s at Circuit of the Americas to finish the season. So awesome job, Sabré.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hopefully those will be smaller numbers starting next
year.
Season, but
it's not for the faint of heart, though. It's a tough series. So
yeah, it is. Thank you.
Thank you. So another OEM, Toyota. With us, Caitlin. Sorry. I've asked everybody to. Maybe I didn't have done this the right way, but I wanted everybody to just have their real platform and not just get into all this Q&A stuff and then say I didn't say what I wanted to say. This is your chance to say it. But we met a number of years ago when I did work with this. But I mean, the commitment that Toyota has made just to, driver development, period, and then to have them, and thank you for sharing me, they've had over 20 women participate in that program, started in the early 2010s. It's all encompassing so many different aspects of it. So, and you personally, if you would share a little bit, because when we met, you were pretty much just the fitness person, I think, overseeing all of that part of it, the physical stuff. And now you're overseeing the program. So, so tell us about the Toyota the Toyota Driver Development Program, but particularly how it impacts the women.
Yeah, so the stuff that you were speaking to about going to Penske, that's kind of, we have a facility that we do all of those things, and was really lucky to, people are so tired of me telling this story, but we started in a storage unit with 6 drivers, and it was just me going, please want to work out. I'm fun, come back. It worked in the beginning. And now we've been really fortunate to be able to grow, and my role has evolved into having kind of the backing to dig into the sport science of the physical part of what makes a driver successful. And it's crazy because we deal with multiple disciplines. We have drivers in dirt series and late model series. It's mostly stock car racing. We have some sports car drivers as well. I'm thankful to the Mazda series. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. You're
we
welcome.
have some really great drivers that came through that series. Is all I know. I got to work with Shay this year, so it's no, it's cool. The crossover is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of, we have a full-time sports dietitian who is a female. Our PT is a female who's there 3 days a week. Kind of just surrounding our drivers with people who care, truly. And we've done a really good job, I'll say, of developing a team of people to support these drivers, to push them, to develop them physically and mentally, that just care about their well-being. And I feel bad for the people in California that have to take care of the X's and O's of the money side of it, because I have the luxury of not having to do that. I might be like, this kid's a turd and this one's not, so they're equal. Choose the one that's not a turd. I don't know. You laugh, but that happens. So it's a chance for us to really see who they are as people, what they're made of, kind of see their mettle. Can they work hard? Can they dig into these things? Do they have an aptitude for it? Do they have a curiosity about it? Because especially when we're talking about female drivers, like, that matters. The road is hard enough. Mm-hmm. So if you kind of don't have this drive, it's so aptly named, to push forward, it's going to be a long road. And so we do as much supporting and helping and facilitating as well as we do evaluating.
But you made a comment to me, and you've kind of referred to it a way bit here, about one of the ways that change is going to happen is to have more of the traditional structure of a race team, or even a competitor, we'll just say it in this case, in most cases a male competitor, to actually see women not just race. But you just told me that some of the 3 specialists in it are females,
Mm-hmm.
so, and so that if we have more females on the team, we have more females in management or in responsible positions, the more they're gonna, if they don't get it, they're, so whether then it's gonna help when they're also race car drivers that they're racing against as well, and more women should actually elevate. So I didn't say that very well, but you made that point, and I really loved it. So
yeah, I think the path to having a female driver win some of these championships is we need the pool to be larger of drivers that are kind of coming forth and working up through the ranks. I think that's a scary prospect, I'm sure, as a parent, or like to kind of throw your daughter into this pool where there's no other women around.
Right.
And so normalizing for both the men in the sport and the women in the sport, normalizing the fact that there's men and women in the sport and in every aspect of the sport. It's not a special thing to be I don't want it to be a special thing. I want to see the day where we're not like, she's the highest finishing female. It's like, they both compete in the sport. I would love for it to just be, like an NHRA, we're just saying the names of who won, and it's a normal thing.
We all want that.
And I think the path there is really going to be, and it's starting, and you guys are all here, and I'm preaching to the converted, but people behind the scenes kind of normalizing it for everyone involved and creating this culture where it is a co-ed culture. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, and congratulations on your evolution too, of being a part of it. Yeah. So really, Mr. Doonan.
Hey.
You know, if I could clone you, if we could clone you, our sport needs to clone you. We need more like you that have the passion.
Thank you.
You know, and the bold leadership that you're willing to take, and all these OEMs, which, you know, all of the OEMs, not so much at NHRA obviously, but all these OEMs that you have their ears, and yet they're just the team that you know you've been able to put together internally with IMSA, and your support of equality, I'm just going to say, and of opportunity is just so deep and so wide and so strong. There's some that you want to specifically talk about, and the platform is yours, but we honor you and thank you so much.
Thrilled to be here, and Lynn, Beth, Cindy, the entire staff, the fact that this continues to grow, commending you all and commending everyone in this room. I think you touched on it, Lynn, and Beth did as well. You made the choice to be here, and that's the first step to building your network in this sport. So great job, and I'm thrilled to be part of this. Several comments. First of all, I got a Ford Excursion at Avis last night. Do you think that's eligible for the Wednesday night deal?
Come April.
All right, yeah. But, you know, and I've said this to you, Lynn, you know, walk down the pit lane at Petit Le Mans, our season finale, which seems like months and months ago now. But the authenticity with which, and you just touched on it, you know, it's happening. It's happening because of WIMNA. It's happening because of individuals and their stories and their drive. But you walk up and down pit lane, and it's not a surprise anymore to see a female leading a program. You know, over the time that I've been at IMSA, last 6 years, Danielle Shepard won the 12 Hours of Sebring, not behind the wheel, but on the top of a box. She won. She was the chief engineer on that program. They won the 12 Hours of Sebring. Mobile won 12 Hours of the Sebring, by the way. You know, the entry list came out yesterday. Lelou Wadou, she's a factory Ferrari driver, and car to car, put me next to Lelou, I don't have a chance. So she's another example. Of course, MX-5 Cup, Grid, Sabré, what GR Cup has done, up and down pit lane. Keely Bosson, Laura Clauser, Justine, like, you're just seeing it. And they're doing it because they're really smart, they're talented, and they're working extra hard. So that makes me so happy for our sport. You know, I walk into the IMSA office every day, and you know, I got superstars in my cabinet like Angela Hall, Rebecca Roski, Emily Nash. They're making it happen, and that makes me super happy. You know, my mom was a registrar when we went racing for the racing organization, but I saw it then start developing, and of course, you know, you and I met in 1985. You didn't know it, but I was there that day when you won your first IMSA race. And I'm just really proud of the work that you're doing and how it's continuing to grow. And on the IMSA side, you know, Jonathan and I worked together at Mazda. He's like another son to me. But you know, authentic programs. You talk about making a difference. We all know there's a lot of talk in the paddock. There's a lot of talk, but those who actually make things happen, sometimes it's a bit rare. And I'm super proud that the programs that have been put in place here and the things that we're doing at IMSA with the STEM program, thanks to Gainbridge and Konica Minolta, they allowed us to bring 500 students to the racetrack throughout the course of the 25 season, from I think 45 different schools. We have a website, thanks to their support, by a company called EverFi that's in the educational space, that's evergreen, so students and educators can go. And I just asked yesterday before leaving Daytona, 15,000 students have gone to that website from almost 500 schools to learn. Young boys, young girls, high school age, that want to be part of the sport. And to your point, you know, 50% of the students come into the racetrack for the STEM program when they go visit Michelin and Bosch and race teams and our engineering group. They're females, and they're just as excited as anybody else to be there, to learn, and maybe see that as a career opportunity. You know, Sabré mentioned our driver development scholarship. That was not a top-down program. Chance Stewart, who works with the Penske Porsche program now, former IMSA teammate of mine, she brought that together. She wrote the white paper on that and said, we need to do something for the sport. Like Jonathan said, we're in the business of growing the whole sport. We're now in our 6th scholarship winner. Really proud of that. And that's a group of partners that came together, Michelin, VP Racing Fuels, that threw a bunch of support into the pool. And now we're giving young talent an opportunity. So the authenticity with which females' involvement in this sport continues to grow is energizing, as Jonathan said, and I think we're just getting started. But everybody in this room, continue to, Beth said, check in on your network, build your network, because that's the only way we're going to keep this momentum going.
Well, it helps, though, a couple things, because, I hear you and I see you, and I see it and I know it. I mean, I see more women, when you... But when you still put it in numbers, a percentage, in other words, probably for every female you see, there's got to be at least 20 or 30 men.
Long way to go.
We still have a long way to go. It helps, though, to have the leadership. I mean, if I were, if I were like having to do a white paper, I don't know how to do that, but if I had to do a white paper, get approval for a budget to do something, and I knew that the person that was going to approve that I had to present that to, was not very supportive of even the concept. You know what I'm saying? That then, it's almost like, it's going to fall on deaf ears, but I'll try again. Where at least it helps to have leadership like that where they care. I mean, they really do care and want to make the difference and know that it does matter. Because we've talked about WIMNA talking about these types of programs and everything that we're doing and that the industry is doing to help grow the sport. It's all about helping to grow the sport. I feel like we're almost at the ready to go to the next level, which is to help lead the sport into a new generation. Because one of the things I've always believed, particularly part of it was my defense mechanism when people would say, what's it like to be a woman in a male-dominated sport? Well, first of all, the car doesn't know the difference, and to be honest, it's the most neutral sport that I've ever been in because, and I know that's as the race car driver, but the reality is everybody that works in the team, that works for putting the car on the track, I mean, it's all about making it happen, making it be successful. And so it really doesn't matter. What matters is you're doing the job. And most other industries and sports, it is so divisive, you know? And so I just feel that we still have so much work to do, but I think with the help of allies and leaders who are supportive of it, we are going to be able to lead to the next generation of what motorsports really is and represents, as opposed to, just sort of helping it grow. We want to help it grow, but now we have to take it over, and I guess that's it. Yeah, we got to keep filling the pipeline, and this needs to continue. This needs to continue to grow, and as we all leave here, we need to be pulling others in to give them the chance to realize what their dreams are, and we're gonna keep doing that on the IMSA side. I have to give it up to the Shiro Award winner, IMSA's very own Karen Nowakowski. I think she's in the room. Unfortunately, I was delayed last night till whenever, but Karen, well done, and we're super proud of you. So. Well, and that Shiro Award is something that, I'm wanting to elevate the women that are really contributing, and I'm just, love the support that you've all given to that as well, to continue that. I know what's a Shiro? People say, like, well, you have heroes, right? It's just this female version of that. So thank you for the leadership, for the support, for the commitment, for the authenticity of that support, so that it does, why it matters. I mean, it does matter, and that's how the sport is going to grow, and really where you don't have to be invited to come into our sport. You have to show up, bring your talent, bring your passion, and you'll be able to get a job. You'll be able to get a ride, you'll be able to deliver your performance. So thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn.
Okay. I think we leave the stage now. I think we leave the stage now.
Okay, I guess we will.